think I can honestly say that I am surrounded by greatness. Because I am surrounded by my brother and sister Americans who are here and willing to put the first step to making our country better. In opposition to my position, the argument will be made that soldiers don't have a right to pick and choose their wars. I would respond that it is not only our right, but our constitutional and moral duty. Many seem to forget that service members swear loyalty not to one man or an institution, but to this country and its people. We don't swear to fight in wars or just do our job, nor blindly obey orders, but to protect the promise, principles, and laws of this country at all costs. My intent is never to disparage the military or dishonor the sacrifices of troops in the past or present. Instead, I want to show you, my fellow Americans, that while we focus on the minute issue of whether Lieutenant Watada is legally right or wrong, this country is falling apart around us. 66% of the 300 million people in this country believe the war to be wrong, yet what are they doing to sacrifice something of themselves to stop it? Our own government has concluded that the mere presence of American troops in Iraq is making America less safe to terrorism. 80 to 90% of Iraqis want us to withdraw completely within 6 months. Their overall opinion is that our mere presence is exacerbating the sectarian warfare. We ignore the voices of the people, yet we claim to want democracy for Iraqis. We aren't there to protect America. We aren't there to protect Iraqis. Why are we there? Why are young Americans dying in the sands of Iraq? Why are we dictating to a 2,000-year-old civilization how they should live or what's best for them?
Where's the moron? What's going on in Uzbekistan?
We are all being used for the profit and pride of a few within our society, and we are all paying for it in blood and treasure. As for my imminent prosecution, it is the right and duty of every service member to refuse unlawful orders. I will not be given a fair trial in any sense of the word. The military shields themselves with a law based on technicalities rather than justice. I will not be allowed any defense to prove the order to conduct combat operations in Iraq is unlawful. Even if a heavily biased jury made up of career officers could ever conceive of sympathizing with me, I will not be given my God-given right to due process. You will be told the policies of the administration and the order to go to war are political questions and not for a junior officer to consider. Then who is deciding the political question? An undecided Congress, an apathetic public, without a personal stake, or an administration who committed the alleged crime of deception in the first place? In Nazi Germany, atrocities and wars of aggression against Poland and the Czech Republic were enabled because very few were willing to stand up.
That's right.
When they did, German prosecutors and judges used the very same arguments against them, insisting that the policies of war were for Hitler and the Nazi Party to decide and no one else. There is no excuse when wrongs are being committed in our name and when we are asked to willingly and silently have a hand in these crimes. I ask of you, what is the real threat to our society, our democracy, and our freedom. The things that ensure a law-abiding and functioning military. Is it the refusal of an officer who tried many times to avoid a confrontation with the military? Or is it the overarching principles and policies of our current administration? Remember, over the past 6 years, these have taken place. The violation of the Fourth Amendment by wiretapping international phone calls of American citizens without court-approved warrants or congressional oversight. 110 signing statements on bills that excludes the president from abiding by the law to include the anti-torture bill. The 2006 Military Commissions Act, which among other things retroactively indemnifies administration officials from prosecution under the 1996 War Crimes Act, strips citizens and non-citizens alike of habeas corpus, grants the president sole authority to determine who is enemy combatant, allows the establishment of military tribunals in which hearsay, coerced testimony, and secret evidence can be used against detainees, has allowed the systematic practice of torture, vague definitions of POWs leading to widespread abuse, indefinite incarcerations without charge or representations, illegal renditions, establishment of secret prisons, and extraditions to countries known to use torture, the violation of the Constitution by manipulation of data, false and misleading statements, and material omissions to gain public support and authorization from Congress to wage war. There are so many injustices that have been committed by this administration. Excluding all these other actions, the Iraq War itself, founded by defrauding the American people, has had the most devastating and obvious effects. It has caused an estimated 600,000 Iraqi deaths. This is compounded with debilitating sanctions that killed another 500,000 Iraqi children between 1991 and 2003, not to mention the thousands of birth defects due to leftover depleted uranium shells from the 1991 invasion. The majority of Iraqi cities are still without regular clean water, electricity, sewage, and medical facilities. Unemployment stands at 70%. Thousands of women, Iraqi women, are forced into prostitution in neighboring Syria and Jordan to support their families. 1.8 million Iraqis have fled the country or been displaced. Sectarian death squads and organized crime rule many of the streets. Bribery, corruption, kidnapping, murder, rape, and extortion are rampant. Extremist Islam has crept into one of the most secular Arab nations, eroding the rights women used to enjoy. A majority of Iraqis, both Sunni and Shia, believe the American occupation is inflaming the sectarian violence. All of this takes place under the occupation by American military forces and the influence of the American government. As for us, over $500 billion has been spent on the war effort, $8 billion a month and counting. With the lifelong cost of veterans' medical care, the cost will easily exceed $2 trillion. The country is in extreme debt, with China buying most, if not all, U.S. securities. The dollar continues to fall, and if China makes any extreme changes to their currency, America could go into deep recession. Veterans' benefits, including adequate psychological care, have been slashed, even as VA hospitals are overwhelmed. Retirement benefits for the military are being slowly cut to fund the war. Evaluating the opportunity costs, billions that could go to fund universal health care, funding for public schools, affordable college tuition, and terrorism prevention have been sacrificed in this war.